Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Decoding Dating. Today, we're actually talking about an interesting topic, which is do I achiever women actually need men? And this is a trending topic, so I thought, why not talk about it, right? And I'm here with.
My name's Adam. I'm the momentum coach helping you get unstuck. I'm excited about this topic, Evelyn.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I actually saw a post about it before the recording. We actually talked about it too. And it's the fact that a guy was talking about, do women don't need men anymore, because now for some women, they have their high standard, they've worked hard, they've, really got to the point where they've achieved a lot. And because it's taken them a lot of work, not just to work on themselves, mentally, financially, all this spiritually. And it's very important that they choose right. And they're okay with the fact that, you know what, if I can't find someone to match this standard I've set for myself, it's okay to be single. But they are very intentional about finding the right person, and their eyes are widely open to kind of pick on those things and those red flags that doesn't align with their, with their standards or their values. So, Adam, what do you think?
I think this is a very interesting topic from a very zoomed out level, from a much more geopolitical level. It is a very depressing and bleak topic to talk about because of the consequences of what people are discussing. For example, the idea of like, we don't need men is it's a very rough topic to get into. However, if we zoom down a little bit to this idea that there are many women out there that have strived for quite a bit in society. These are high achieving women. They have the pick of the litter. Yes, they should be picky. They should find a mate that matches their standards. You have standards for a reason. Unfortunately, what I'm seeing a lot in the dating world is that many of these women are complaining that the average guy is not up to their standard. And the data is showing this. It shows that about 63 to 65% of all men between the ages of 20 to 30 down in the United States are simply single. They're just not in relationships. But when you look at the female side of things, I think the data shows that it's like 35% of women are in relationships. And it's just kind of this interesting dynamic that's happening in dating. When it comes to, you are a high status woman, you deserve the best, you deserve not to lower your standards. However, the issue is there's just not that many men that are meeting these standards. And then the question happens of, well, what happens if you don't meet a man that ever meets your standards?
I understand that. Yeah, but the thing is, for me, I'm not. I'm always about people having standard, and I always say this: I believe that men need women and women need men. So, and that's something that is there. But also because we live in a world where the system favors men the most, right? And for a lot of women, based on their background or where they're coming from, it took them a lot of effort and time to really work on themselves. And there are situations where, for some women, you've worked so much. Like, for example, most women, even after divorce or separation or breakup, they are very intentional about healing, and they go for retreats and all that. So it takes a lot of money and investment that they really put into themselves. They can to not be intentional about choosing the right person. In terms of finance, yeah, there are a lot of average men and there are a lot of high achiever men and high achiever women and average women. Now, not to classify, but the thing is, the average men, for example, there are a lot of women for them, right? And there are a lot of high achiever women that don't mind, the average guy or whatever, if you ask prospect, right? Which is okay. But I always say, regardless, there have always been more men than women in history. And that's why there are some cultures where we see men marrying even multiple women, because it has always been like that. So it's never going to be balanced. Now, a lot of women are intentionally choosing that, okay, is either find a man that is up to my standard. And standard could be many things, maybe finances. Let's just take finance, for example. than to marry less. Because there are situations where a lot of women who are high achiever set goal and looking for a kind, when we got fairy man, good man, and they don't mind going settling. I won't say settle, but actually dating down financially. I would say that's the only one I want to point at. But then they face a lot of challenges because not every man is capable of handling a successful woman. I was watching a video today where a lady bought a house, a very big mansion back home, and the guys were joking and saying things like, look at you now, you've gotten this big house, who is going to marry you? And she said, listen, there was a time I was on the streets selling things on the street, hustling and bustling. I wasn't married, I was still single, nobody married me. So do you think I would wait? I have to hustle, I have to be hardworking, and now I'm able to achieve this. The right man would come. So you could see that you see those guys, they were threatened by even, look at that statement. And so I think a lot of women should be fine to say, okay, is that I meet a man that is good, is great, has great quality, fit into the life I envision for myself, or I create beautiful community around me, and if I stay single, that's fine. It's okay.
Oh, absolutely. It is okay to have standards. It's okay to search for your partner. I don't think it's okay to feel like the world owes you anything. Just because you've done the hard work, just because you've done the self-care, you've invested the time, money, and energy into yourself, doesn't mean the world owes you anything. It's just how it goes. I would encourage you to do it if you're looking to find a partner that has done the work, has done the healing, has brought themselves up. They're going to look for somebody equally like that individual.
Yeah.
However, the world doesn't owe you a partner. No, you aren't owed anybody. And that's an important distinction to make. I would encourage you always to have those standards, always look for somebody, always to be like, yeah, I'm a high value woman. I'm looking for a guy that is high valued myself, by all means. It's interesting.
I think it's very important to, like you mentioned it right, you said the world doesn't have to owe you anything. And I think those women don't believe that the world owes them anything, right? It's just that you've done a lot of work, you've put a lot of work into yourself, you've gotten to a point, and it's okay. So it's not the world owing you anything, but it's just what you want. And the thing is, just work hard, be you, keep moving, keep going. And because in this life, you are going to live this life for yourself. Life is short, so you want to make sure that you choose based on what works for you. And that can look like a lot of things, because sometimes I think, we're going to find this person, but you may not find it. But that doesn't mean that you should go for what isn't good for you. Right? So and be okay that not everybody's meant to get married. And if that is the case, make sure you build a good community. I always am about that. Build a good community, because there are people that are married that are so depressed. There are people that are married and lonely. There are people that are married that even lost their spouse, early, and they're single, and but they had to build their community. They had to have their kids around them. They had to have their grandkids around them, and that's it. And so find a way to enjoy the moment. I will keep pushing, keep going forward. And if it's your plan to get married, hopefully you find someone that is, would complete you. I know you're complete, but complete you somehow. But like, I still believe that we are meant to, we need each other, good gender. Like you need a man. If any girl says, I don't need a man, it could be coming from, a place of trauma or art. But I think we both need, each other, but ensure that is right.
And I think that's just it, is ensuring that your partner is the right partner for you. And when it comes to just life in general, like, you don't need a partner to be happy. Like, happiness and having a partner, those are separate things. You can be happy without a partner. You can be happy with a partner. You can be miserable with a partner, and you can be miserable without a partner. The biggest question I always ask my clients, especially when it comes to this type of topic, is imagine you're 90 years old and you never found anybody. Would you be happy with that? Like, is that a regret of yours? And if the answer is yes, that would be a regret, and I would be dying unfulfilled. It's like, okay, we need to work on that, and we need to work on helping you find somebody, because this is a goal. This is something that you want. But some people are sitting there go, you know what? I have such a great community. I have such great friends. I have family and people that I'm plugging into. It's like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm okay with that. And that is equally as valid. But if it's something that you know for a fact, even though right now you might not be in the place of saying, hey, I want that partner, even if you're not in that place right now, it's understanding that, like, oh, okay, we still need to work towards that down the line, because this is a goal that you truly want to fulfill.
Yeah. And like you said, if you have a goal, if your goal is to get married, if your goal is to have a family, you are going to be intentional about that, right? You're going to be intentional about seeking for what you're looking for, and put yourself in those environments to attract what you're looking for. Because for my as a matchmaker, I think I'm very intentional about, because I've seen situations where people just go into a relationship just to avoid being alone, and they end up regretting it. A lot of people even lose their lives marrying the wrong partner. And that's why I frown against just finding anybody just because you have a goal. You know what I'm saying? Or just because you're lonely. I'm very about making sure that you choose the right partner for you. And that can look like it, whatever it looks like, what a right partner looks for me can be different from what it looks for somebody else. And it's up to you. It is, I always believe that I never see anybody's, even like who tell me, oh, I believe I can win a lottery or I can do this. I don't discourage anybody. I believe that you can work hard and you can be great. You can, it's just sometimes it's the effort you put into it. And sometimes it may not happen like that. But at least you're going to be happy that you tried. So, and that's what I would say. But I like, the first thing I disagree was, women need men, but women are looking for intentional men. Women are looking for quality men. And for some women, they would rather be single forever than to just go for anything, all in the sake of getting married or being in a relationship.
Oh, absolutely. When it comes down to it, there's many people that are looking for the one and they're just not ready to settle. My biggest concern when I look at the dating world is, I think, unfortunately, we are creating a society of very lonely people. And it's interesting to see the consequences of all this. I know in my practice, especially when I work in mental health and addictions, the rate of loneliness is ridiculous.
Mhm.
I'm often dealing with it with all my clients. They have some form of loneliness, a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety. Those are huge markers. And it's not just like one or two people. It's like every single person is coming through my doors. All of my clients are all struggling with relationship problems in some way, shape, or form. Most of them, it's just finding somebody. And it is interesting when we talk about this discussion, because I think there is a bit of a mismatch from a much broader perspective of what's going on between men and women. And it kind of makes me sad. I'm going to be honest with you. It makes me sad.
Yeah, I think so. It's sad. But the funniest thing is, that's the reality, right? I think some people are also very. I was watching a video before this. A lady was talking about, she started kind of like a flow between when you're single to for someone that you plan to get married as well, if that's your goal. And she talked about looking for a partner that is purposeful compared to a partner that is your preference, right? And that's the thing. I think for so many reasons, for so many people, they confuse both. If you prioritize, so it depends on what you're looking for, where you are at, in the stage of your life. If you feel like finance is what is priority for you, and that's what you're focused on, you may miss a lot of things. and you could still meet a very great guy, but maybe it's not up to your standard. But then because you feel like me dating someone that is not up to my financial status, it might be jealous of me, maybe, but you don't know that. But because you assume that, you lose a good person. So I'd say in that it's good to strike a balance. It's good to apply wisdom and ask yourself what is the most important, focus right now when it comes to a partner. Like, what is going to give you that quality, that beautiful life that you've envisioned for yourself? It's never going to be perfect like how you envision, because you just envision it, right? But what is very important to you, if happiness is very important to you, is if your what is important is having a companion, then maybe some other things may not be very important to you. So basically, is that I always say, go for, kind of look at your life, look at where you see yourself going, and ask yourself, what is important to me right now? What is important for my future? And then make decision based on that, so that you don't have regrets, or at least be able to live with yourself later in the future.
You had said something super interesting. I'd love for you to kind of elaborate on it. You were talking about the difference between it was a purposeful partner versus a different type of partner. What does that mean?
Preference. Purposeful partner is, for example, I watch a lot of podcasts, but there was a lady, she said, okay, so meeting a guy, and you know that this guy coming into your life will bring so much value. And it doesn't have to be that the man is wealthy or anything like that. It could be that maybe that person would compliment you, or that person is able to push you, and you can do great things with this person by your side, right? And this person may not be that rich guy or that flashy guy, but maybe it's going to bring so much peace, love, and it's going to help you with whatever vision you have for yourself. And you can help him too. Now, preference could be that maybe you are a six-figure woman, or you're a successful businesswoman, and your focus is finding someone that is six-figure like you, or maybe more than you. You have envisioned yourself to travel around the world and all that. And that is your focus. And anything less than that, you don't see it. Yeah. So, for example, that is the thing. So now I always say, what is your focus? Like, what is your priority right now? So you can end up choosing someone that is flashy and all that, but that doesn't guarantee that you're gonna be happy. That doesn't guarantee that you're gonna have joy in your marriage. That doesn't even guarantee that it's gonna work. You can get married tomorrow, today, But like I would say, so that's the difference between purposeful and just preference. Like, this is what I want, and that's what. But is that what your future? Is that what your heart wants? Is that what? So, like, do you? Some people don't even like happy and peaceful marriage. Some people say, don't marry for love, marry for money, right? So I'm not saying it's wrong. Whatever you focus on, whatever is your priority, but at the end of the day, it has to be you. It has to be you living with yourself, and that's all that matters.
It kind of reminds me of talking with one of my clients, and she married for money. She found a guy that made a shit ton of money, and then she came to see me, and she was very upset with him because he wasn't a very loving man. He didn't take her out. He bought gifts for her, but didn't really snuggle her, was unfulfilling many of her love needs. And I remember asking her, I said, what were you looking for in a partner when you found him? And she said, I was looking for money. I was like, well, you found it. And then she realized through just marrying him and being with him, that she wanted something else in her life. Yeah. And that's completely fine. And I love what you said about being a little bit more purposeful and what do you want to focus on. Mm-hmm. And it's always the question of be careful what you focus on, because that's exactly what you'll get at the end of the day. And if you wanted money, you can get money. However, many of your other needs may not be met.
Yeah, so that's why I say, look at your future. Because you guys may make, you might even like, okay, the money is there, so is that all you want? So think about your future and what you want for your future. And I think it's not just thinking about now, right? Because now you're broke, you need money, right? And things may change, but it's like, what is more important? Like, money is great, Is it someone that is very ambitious? I'm not going to tell you to, but if it's money, fine, go for money. And it's great if you find money and you find all this beautiful quality. So the thing is, you're not just finding money, but making sure that you're looking at the bigger picture. What about him? Does it align with your values? Is it kind? Is it good? Is it, those other qualities? The money is part of it. Amazing, right? But it's not just to look at one thing, but look at those things that are very core and important to you, and then you can make decisions from that, so that way you are at the end of in the next maybe 5, 6, 10, 20 years, you can look back and be proud of the decisions that you made, because your kids are going to benefit from it, right? That's a beautiful one today, and I can't really wait for what you all have to say about this. And Adam, do you have anything to say before we call it?
Well, thank you guys for joining us. If you like this podcast episode, please give it a like, subscribe, and comment down below. We would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Or if you find somebody else who could use this information, please share it with another individual.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day. We can't wait to see you again. Bye for now.